All right, grade 11. So we have done creative thinking and problem solving from the beginning. Now we have to continue. We have complex problem solving techniques. There are many problem solving techniques that can be used to help the creative process and that inspire people to generate creative ideas. Then next slide. More complex problem-solving techniques. Number one, brainstorming. A group discusses and solves the problem together. That is to brainstorm. Then force-field analysis, discussing and evaluating the pros and cons of change. There is a proposed change. Then here we have to discuss and evaluate the pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages. Then the Delphi technique, ideas and opinions are obtained using written or oral information. Then we have internet communication, similar to brainstorming, but not face-to-face. Internet communication is similar to brainstorming. The problem is internet communication is not face-to-face like brainstorming. Then we have to start with number one, brainstorming. It is a way of generating ideas through a group process. Then the steps in brainstorming, outline the brainstorming process to the group. Now you have to outline the brainstorming process to the group. Then after that, step number two, you outline the basic rules to be followed. What must be done if you are a member of that group? What must be done? Number one, you keep an open mind. You do not have to criticize anyone. Then let yourself go. Don't discuss an idea yet. Generate as many ideas as possible. Build on the ideas of others. You are not the only person in the brainstorming process, so you have to start building up on the ideas of others. Write down all the ideas as they arise. Then step number three, you present the problem to the group. Now the group must know what is the problem. Then after that, you appoint a recorder, someone who's going to record what's going to be said in that brainstorming process. Then state the problem in clear terms and begin. Now you state the problem in clear terms. You discuss it in detail, and then you begin. Then after that, step number six, synthesize similar ideas. Some ideas look similar. You have to synthesize such ideas, and then group the listed ideas into three groups. Impossible, some ideas are impossible, some ideas are unlikely, some are possible. So you have to group those listed ideas into three groups and then prioritize the best ideas. Now the best ideas must be prioritized. Then on the next stage, next slide, we now have to look at force field analysis. It can be used when changes in production of goods or services are proposed. We might propose to start using another method of producing goods and services. We might have changes in production of goods and services. This method takes all the negative forces into account beforehand so that steps can be taken to minimize them. You can list all the positive forces and strengthen them. We now have the negative forces and positive forces. We take the negative forces into account beforehand, and then after that, we try to minimize those negative forces. After that, we list the positive forces and we have to strengthen them or to enforce them. Then step number one, list and discuss the various forces that are in favor of the proposed change. Various forces, these are the driving forces. You list the driving forces that are in favor of the proposed change. And then step number two, you list and discuss the various forces that are against the proposed change. These are the restraining forces. Then step number three, you weigh up the pros and cons or driving forces against the restraining forces. You have to weigh up the advantages and disadvantages or the driving forces against the restraining forces. Then let's quickly go to the next slide. We have a diagram here. Force field analysis, driving forces versus restraining forces. Then we have present state or desired state. Then we have the Delphi technique. The Delphi problem-solving technique can be used to tap brain power from participants at different places at the same time. Information can be exchanged via mail, fax, or email. It uses anonymous interviews or involves a series of confidential questionnaires to solve a problem. The following steps are identified. Step number 1, identify the problem. You have to know what is the problem. Step number 2, you ask the group members to write possible solutions to a problem. Do this in the form of a questionnaire. So a problem solving technique that's using questionnaire is a Delphi technique. Then combine the results and give each member a copy of the results. Then experts submit new ideas. The experts must submit new ideas. And then after that, combine the new information and give it to the experts again. We combine that new information and give it back to the experts. Then step number 4 and 5 can be repeated until all members in the group agree. Now we have to repeat step number 4 and 5. To the next slide, we are quickly going to look at the advantages of the Delphi technique. Arguments and disputes are minimized because we are not going to say anything face to face. It's going to be in a form of a questionnaire. Then it encourages input from people who do their best work without needing to interact. People here are not going to interact. They're just going to answer a questionnaire. It minimizes the influence of participants due to rank or status. Then there's no influence of participants. We are not even going to look who is this one, who is that one. The rank or status of people is not going to take place there. Then free expression is promoted without fear or being belittled. Remember, it's anonymous. They are not going to know who wrote what. So there is a free expression here that is promoted without fear of being belittled because there's no criticism. We are not going to criticize each other. The physical presence of participants is not required. You are just going to fill in a questionnaire without being present. Then the disadvantages, it can be time consuming because from the previous slide they say we are going to repeat step number 4 and 5 until all participants agree. So it's time consuming. Then bad ideas may be accepted because of a lack of group discussion. So there's no group discussion. Every idea is more than welcome. There is no opportunity for participants to elaborate or add to someone else's idea. Then working with others to solve problems and generate ideas. Synergy occurs when individuals work together to achieve results that they cannot achieve separately. Here, teamwork. Even if we don't get along, we have to try by all means to work together and be professional. That is synergy. We work together to achieve set results. Then the next slide, we have creative solutions to business problems. All businesses face uncertainty in the micro or business environment, and especially the market and macro or external environment. The micro environment is an internal environment. Market environment just outside the business, immediately outside the business. Then macro environment, external environment. We have no control over it. Then businesses may use the pestle analysis factors to help them find a creative solution to problems that exist in the macro environment. Then pestle analysis factors are macroeconomic factors that affect a business. P for political factors. What is happening politically? For example, tax policies, changes of government. E, economic factors. What is happening in the economy? For example, economic growth or decline, unemployment, and inflation. Then social factors for S. What is happening socially? For example, cultural, health, population growth. T, technological factors. How is technology affecting businesses? What new technologies exist? L, legal factors. For example, laws on importing and exporting, labor laws. E, environmental factors. What is happening in the environment? For example, global warming and pollution. All these 6 letters stands for the macroeconomic factors: political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental factors. And then blah 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 blah. Creative thinking can generate new ideas. More than one people are together trying to solve a specific problem. Last slide, we are having the end of topic questions, the end of topic 8. So we are quickly going to do those questions as an activity. Good luck, guys. We will continue next time.